What's going on? Y'all already know what this is. It's Golden Culture, where we get into a lot of topics all at once. This is soon, one day, hopefully, to be the biggest podcast in the world if the Almighty Father, King of Kings, allows it. You're tuned in right now. My name is Warpath. Thank you for watching. We're going to get right into it. Kanye West talking about the culture vultures, and what have you, and how he feels, his opinion on a lot of things, right? So, with that being said, let's get right into it. This is what Kanye had to say about the culture, and I feel somewhat a lot like he does.
Yeah, think about this for a hat. This is one of my main things. It's like, what is the culture? It's like, man, this ain't for the culture. We doing something for the culture. We are orphans, bro. We are cultureless. We don't have our own culture. We signed to culture vultures. We sign our life away. Our contracts to culture vultures. Think about everything that's cultural. Taking a knee is cultural. Being on social media is cultural. Wearing high fashion is cultural. Pushing a foreign is cultural. All these things are not owned by our culture.
Facts. So, who designed the culture? When we talk about culture, and per se, and this is not being disrespectful towards anybody, because you guys already know previous times over and over again, I say we are black. Facts. If you're Puerto Rican, you're black. That's the way I was raised. I know my history. Do you know yours? So what I'm saying is this. When we talk, people in the hood, we always like, yo, they copying off our culture. How can a Puerto Rican do copy of your culture? Or I hear somebody say, don't they got their own culture? Yeah. But when you talking about culture, you talking about the way you was raised, your food, your environment, the way you guys live, or you talking about the music industry? Like, because that wasn't invented alone by blacks. And I keep saying that, and it's not being disrespectful towards anyone, because the majority of my friends are black, and I am black. I may seem a little lighter here because the light going on and all that. Y'all know how the videos go. But it's just a fact. This is not one person's culture. Hip hop, rap, trap is not one person's culture. You know what I mean? It's not one person's music, should I say. Listen to Busta Rhymes, right? Because all this happening, people always say, you know what? People always say they copying from us. They copied our music, our culture. Hip hop was invented or founded, should I say, by blacks and Puerto Ricans. Then everyone else put their little bits and pieces into it. So it's not just one person's. But the fact remains that the first people that blew up with it in New York were Puerto Ricans and blacks. That's a fact. That's a given fact. No one can change that Puerto Ricans and blacks together contributed to this beautiful thing that we have today called hip hop. Buster.
I want to remind everybody that may not know how the origin of hip hop was started. The origin of hip hop was started by the power of black and Puerto Rican people. In case you needed to be reminded, a lot of motherfuckers want to try to gentrify our culture. A lot of motherfuckers want to try to act like they conveniently forget who fathered this shit. And Puerto Rican people together, we created the greatest culture in the fucking world. And it's called
So, leave in the comments your opinion about that. I answer back all comments as soon as possible myself. Hip hop is a beautiful thing. We just can't say hip hop belongs to black people. So stop it, y'all. Facts. And it's just my opinion. It's not starting a hateful thing or none of that, or nothing to do with race, because y'all know how I feel about that. But with that being said, there's a lot of things going on in our culture, right? Since you want to call it culture, our hip hop culture. And today here on Golden Culture, we're gonna touch on a few of them things, right? If you want to split a culture, when we're talking about music, right? Being that they started calling music part of as a culture thing, right? All the time. Like now, that's all it. So hip hop, people think that's their culture. Reggaeton is their culture. This and that, right? So Complex. I'm watching Complex. J Barbie, Daddy Yankee, Nicky Jam, all these people on Complex now, an English channel that talks about the culture, the hip hop English culture, right? So now they want to jump into the Spanish, right? But then talk about that people are jumping and snatching their culture up and their music. So I say all that to say that I found it odd that now that the numbers is the number one streamed type of music in the world, reggaeton, Latin trap, all that, you can look it up. Billboards, number one, all that. Everybody's making Latin records, Latin trap. Drake, your boy, you know, the kid that's locked up in the feds with the rainbow hair. One dude that I give respect to, and mind you, that Rick Ross was, to me, what I remember, he probably wasn't the first one, but at one point, before I started doing this YouTube thing and all that, I was DMing like big rappers that were like CEOs of companies. I DM'd Jay-Z, I DM'd Dr. Dre, I DM'd a lot of people. I DM'd Master P, and in hopes that one day one of them would hit me back, and I was saying, this is going to be the number one John DePlane of music in the world. Pay attention, and I know it very well. I know who's going to blow up and who's not. My ear is good for music, English and Spanish. The same way I can look at a channel right now, and I've told my family, like, look at this kid on this channel. In a month or two, he's going to be one of the biggest channels. And I haven't been wrong yet. The same way with music. My family be like, yo, you said it. I told them a few months ago, just off of Facebook, or for one kid in Spanish rapping, he's going to be nice. He's going to be a millionaire. It happened quicker than I thought. I said it in English. Look, listen to this dude. He's going to be, my people was always like, yo, you said it, boy. You said it. Holy snap. You understand what I'm saying? I always had an ear and a good eye for talent, right? And it's a shame I don't get paid for that, because someone else will be making millions also when I find them the talent. But that's another part of the chapter, I guess. With that being said, Rick Ross, I remember, signed Royal Lion Mob. And they got a Reebok deal and everything. And that was lit. And I respected that because he gave them, from what I remember, some bread. I don't know if it's fully true because I didn't hear it from their mouth. But I seen a lot of the videos online and all that. And he went and he signed a clique that was lit at the time. Like, he seen the whole thing, the movement. You know, they had a movement behind them. I think it was White Lion, Ruckus, a few of them. They was nice to me. You know what I mean? And now Jay-Z starts doing it. He had made Romeo Santos the CEO of Rock Nation Latino, whatever. That didn't last. They went their separate ways or whatever. I just think he picked someone that was like really busy doing their own thing. Romeo Santos is like a big artist in the Latin community, right? With the bachata music. But I had a vision with that. Now everybody's jumping to it. Another dude I give his props to is Akon. Akon been making Latin music. He's been in the Latin rap, Latin trap, Latin reggaeton, all that since the this dude Temperamento Days with Black Royal. Now, he says himself that he was raised by Puerto Ricans, Akon. And what kills me, and another thing I like to point out real quick, is that Akon says the name of his album is Negrito, right? And there's this big thing going around, and I said it on my other channel, on the Lockout, right? Is a channel where I talk about my prison, my jail experience, prison experience, and from time to time I talk about the news that relates to locked up, to whatever, and I talk about anything that I basically feel like. But for the most part, I try to stay in that lane. But from time to time, I switch it up. But at one time, I was talking there, and I was saying how people were saying on other podcast shows that they would hear the word Moreno and feel offended and pop into jail quick when the war was on, because they knew that that was something bad that the Spanish dudes were talking about them. And I always said that does not mean that, which it don't. If it was that way, Big Pun's record wouldn't be played. Morena, Boricua. That's not a bad word. So people need to get that out their head. It just means the dark skinned dude, the black dude. Like if somebody was to say the Boricua right there, or the Puerto Rock right there, it's a total non-disrespectful thing. Now, you could be being explained like something going to happen to you, like, yo, the Moreno, hit him up, or the Spanish dude, hit him up. That's different. But to just hear the word and pop for no reason while you didn't even know what he was saying, he's not saying nothing wrong with saying Moreno. So, prime example, Kanye's album is called Negrito. Negrito means black. So when you used to hear it in the jails too, they said they would pop when he says de negro and negro. And negro means the black guy. That's all it means. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to give props to Kanye. To Akon. Kanye. You got to give props to Akon, because he's been helping in that. He just didn't jump on now because the numbers are bigger than what he said. He been seeing the vision, and he was in that a long time ago. So if anyone deserves to be there, it'll be Akon, and he has an album coming out, and that's coming out real soon. So I don't know if it's out yet. He has songs with a lot of the Latin artists. He has a lot of things coming up in the Latin community. But for the most part, he's been doing interviews in the Latin community on a lot of shows, and letting it be shown that, and then and stating the fact that this just didn't come out of nowhere, that this was something that he's been into, that this is something he's been doing, and that he demands his respect, bottom line. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm trying to find it right now for you guys, so I could play some of it on what Akon was saying. So hopefully I'll find it. I'm having a hard time finding it right. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's him and Omega. So I don't know why I'm having a hard time finding it right now when it was all over the place not too long ago. Maybe I need to go to the actual page, but I think I was on it already. So hopefully I'll find it right now. The interview with Dumb 2. Oh, here it goes. This is it right here. This is a Akon on the thing. So this is I'm gonna find the part where he says what he's gonna say. Akon is official too. His music was always really good. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I haven't posted here in a minute, so we getting back into this is a podcast, so it's not something to rush, get to the point. I'm trying to make it a podcast where we talking about different subjects and things like that.
The Spanish album. My process, I would go on the beat, I would do the melody. Then I say, okay, I want to say this, I want to say this, I want to say this, and then the writer in Spanish would come and write it for me. And then, yeah, so that's why it was a lot easier.
And then the beats with Mafia, right?
Yeah.
All of the beats?
Yeah, well, the one, yeah, it's not like that. It's different. So you gotta kind of start, you understand, you gotta move a certain way, like, on my record. Because sometimes as a writer, another song, and I remember, like, oh, shit, man, come on, Omega, that's my brother, man. Then me, I'll go out by myself, I'm over here fighting, throwing people off stage, and like, impact, and hopefully put other people that's watching and be an example for others. Like, I heard Lady Gaga. Ask all your guys, ask all those guys. You see it, boy, this is a lot of money to me. It's $1,000 for a song, and then you came in and you said, you know what? I don't gotta give you $900.
This is why people blew up. Why people slipped up on this Latin
Teach you how to
music.
fish. I'm not gonna hand you a big shark, no. I'm gonna teach you how to catch it. Yeah.
Do you think this work, it can work like in this time now?
Oh yeah, it can. Now it's even
Better, right?
It's even better now. Now,
It's you to know the stuff. Like,
man, ask all your guys. Ask Ozuna. Ask all those
I've
guys.
seen it. Trust me.
You see it, boy. This is a lot of money today. It's way more money to be made today than it ever was.
Do you listen? I'm telling you like this, but do you listen to the artists, the Latinos?
Yeah, I listen to all of them.
Can you say like a top 5 or something that you have?
My top 5, I would probably say Ozuna, Faruko, Yankee still today, Dong.
And this is Akon talking, right?
No, it's very easy to speak it.
Okay.
It's just sometimes I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can speak all day. Whatever you say, I can repeat it. I just have to know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, come on, no, it's crazy.
Come on, no, man.
Yeah, come on, no, it's
you like
crazy.
Spanish and you're in the beat, like
Yeah.
you got like I seen that you doing this, like an album in Spanish, but it's not just like other people do. Like, okay, Latino is now the movement. Let's do it. Just do anything. Like you really like grabbing the beats, like the one that
Yeah.
you doing like with the Anuel one. You're saying stuff that we say in Spanish.
Well, because this is the thing, like what I did with the Spanish album, my process, I would go on the beat.
I want to find.
It's a big difference. How? It's a big difference. I think the older artists, because we just have a different code. A lot of the newer artists, they have no idea how long I've been in the business. Doing it with reggaeton artists.
He says it himself.
Becky G, the Como No, and then all the rest of them is me and Mafia.
Okay.
All Mafia, man.
Mafia. That's my brother.
Yeah, nah, dude.
I was supposed to be in the celebration.
Yeah,
today.
I know.
Yeah, and then
I
I told
know.
him, like,
Me
yo,
too. I said, yo, but I'm in New York.
I said, what? Man, I'm doing an interview with
Yo, D-Miller Mafia. Sorry, brother.
He say, oh, okay, it's good. I produce his album,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
so it's good.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still
good.
there.
The rest of it, all Mafia.
So but most people think the new kids think the Akon is doing this now. But like I remember the first song I listened to Akon was Lonely.
Yeah.
And they put the video on this song, like this guy singing in the theater with Lonely.
Yeah.
And then Soul Survival with John Yeezy. But then I started listening with Spanish dudes. Like I
Yeah.
remember Voltio, he
On
did the
Locked
Locked Up
Up.
one.
That's the beginning.
Yeah.
My first ever single had a Spanish remix.
And that was
This was 2004.
But that was original. That was like
No, that was original.
okay. Yeah. We Jenny Rivera.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So people don't realize I've been doing this a long time. Then when I did the I Wanna Love You, I put Tego Calderon on the remix.
And Don Omar.
And Don Omar.
Yeah.
You remember, see?
Yeah, I was here. I was listening to that.
Yeah, you remember.
I was coming here with Bring It On.
A lot of the newer artists, they have no idea how long I've been in the business, doing it with reggaeton artists.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm just trying to show you that he was been doing this, and big ups to him, big ups to everybody that's helping the Latin artists. I'm for everybody. I'm for the hip hop community in English. I'm for the hip hop community in Spanish. I have a golden culture in Spanish. It's called Cultura de Oro. I'm gonna start posting there. All that. So I like music in general. You know what I mean? So I just find it weird to me that the people from Complex, they talk about the culture so much and the culture and the culture, and they consider the culture black people, not Spanish people, not Puerto Rican people, none of that. You can look at DJ Academics, and when he talks about the culture and hip hop and all that that's going on, he's not counting with Puerto Ricans as being part of the culture. He's not counting with any other Latin or Spanish artists or people in general as part of their culture, as part of the hip hop culture, what they want to call the culture today, being music, putting it as part of a culture, right? So, and I get it, but you could tell that he's not with it. It's like, nah, that's not our culture. That's reggaeton, Latin people, Spanish people, Latin trap, and they got nothing to do with our culture. Are you serious? Puerto Ricans and blacks together were the first people in the Bronx to make hip-hop rap blow something out of proportion, and that's why you got what you have today. And that is facts. So leave in the comments how you feel about that. We're starting to post here again, back-to-back content. My name is Warpath. This is Golden Culture. We answer back all comments, and we love all people. Facts.